So hello friends, I'm here again with a very interesting topic of class 10th, which is nutrition. It is in the very first chapter of the biology, that is life processes, and this topic itself talks about very basic things in our lives. So actually when we talk about the nutrition, the question which comes in our mind is what is the need of nutrition? Why do we require, or what is the importance of nutrition in our lives? So basically when we talk about ourselves, we talk about human beings. We have to perform many different tasks. We have to be multitasking at a single, you can say any point of time. We have to perform many different works. So we have to uh, conserve energy in our body, you can say, or we require energy very frequently for performing any task, anything, any function. We continuously require energy. And not only in our case, if we talk about some smaller or even the smallest organism which is present on the earth, smallest unicellular organism, it also requires energy, because at a cellular level, as it is unicellular, it also has to do many different tasks for its body. So performing any kind of task, it requires energy. So how this requirement of energy is fulfilled in their bodies, in our bodies, and the question can be asked that how can we obtain energy from the food which we are taking? How can we or how we are able to obtain the energy from the food? So basically these things are present, which will be discussed today under this topic. So first of all, let's discuss what can be the different types of nutrition, as we are going to talk about this. So when we talk about the simpler organisms, or basically you can say unicellular, or the organisms which are very simpler in their structure, they basically take their food in the form of inorganic substances, basically in the form of carbon dioxide and water molecules. So the organisms which are able to take the food from inorganic substances, they are called as autotrophs or autotrophic organisms, as they are not dependent on anybody else to for the requirement or for the fulfillment of their food actually. So the organisms which are able to prepare their own food, which are able to arrange their own food, they are called as autotrophs, and this mode of nutrition is called as autotrophic nutrition. And when we talk about the examples of the autotrophs, so they are basically the plants, or most of the plants actually. I'm not saying all the plants, because we have some examples of the plants which are partially heterotrophic also. So most of the plants, you can say, they are autotrophic, plus some bacteria also, they are autotrophic in nature. Okay, now so when we talk about the plants, how they are able to prepare their food, so a very basic thing or basic process is there, which I'm not going to discuss in detail, because about this you are studying from very earlier classes. That is the process of photosynthesis. In the process of photosynthesis, what do the plants do actually? So they take the carbon dioxide which is already present in the atmosphere, they take the water molecules also, and with the help of a pigment which is present in the green parts of the plant, that is called as chlorophyll, with the help of this pigment and a very important criteria which should be present in the environment for the process of photosynthesis, that is sunlight. So with the help of carbon dioxide molecules, water molecules, chlorophyll, pigment and sunlight, the plants are able to prepare their food. And what is this food actually? This is the glucose molecule which is produced. Some oxygen is also released and some water molecules are released. So this is the basic reaction of the photosynthesis, or you can say the process of photosynthesis is shown by this reaction actually. So basically what does the chlorophyll do here? It takes the light energy from the atmosphere and it converts this light energy into chemical energy. जो light energy present है हमारे atmosphere में, it is captured by the chlorophyll, and this light energy is changed into chemical energy, and this oxygen, this water molecule which is present here, it is changed into hydrogen and oxygen molecules, and oxygen is released here at the as the you can say outcome of the reaction, oxygen molecule is released. So basically this is the process of photosynthesis which is related to the plants. Or if the question will come that what can be the chemical reaction which is showing the process of photosynthesis. So you have to mention this reaction there, and you have to write shortly about what are the reactants actually which are reacting, and what are the possible outcomes. So these things you have to mention there. So this was the thing about the plants. Now let's talk about the another type of nutrition, that is heterotrophic nutrition. So as in autotrophic, we have seen that the organisms which are able to prepare their own food. So the reverse is the case in heterotrophic nutrition. Here the organisms, they are not able to prepare their own food. They have to depend on some other person or some other sources for the fulfillment of their food. So they come under the category of heterotrophic nutrition. Hetero means other, and trophic means for the process of nutrition, or basically nutrition is there for trophic word. So we human beings, we come under this category only. Or basically you can say that some plants and bacteria, these are the two group of organisms which come under autotrophic nutrition. Otherwise all the other creatures which are present in the earth, they show heterotrophic nutrition. So let's talk something about the organisms which come under heterotrophic nutrition. So just start from the smaller or simpler organisms. So when we talk about amoeba or paramecium, you can say these are small or microbial organisms actually they are. So how the amoeba is able to get its food? So basically food-like structures can be produced by amoeba at any point of time, and these false structure or false food basically are called as pseudopodia. So whenever it sees any food source or food material which is present in its surrounding, so some false food are excluded by the amoeba, and the food material which is present in the surrounding, it is engulfed by the organism. So in this way this is able to obtain the food. Or what happens in the case of paramecium? The paramecium has cilia or ciliary structure which is present all throughout its body. So with the help of these cilia which are present around it, it is able to catch the food material which is present in its surroundings. So these were the things about the simpler organisms. Now let's talk about ourselves actually. So here starts the process of nutrition in human beings. So what happens in us actually? As we take the food, so the digestion of the food starts from the mouth itself. If we talk about the human beings, we have some structures in the mouth, and the digestion of food starts from the mouth itself. So in the mouth we have teeth, or basically we have 4 different types of teeth which are present. So they start doing their function, and the food which we are taking, it is broken down into smaller pieces. So you can say this is the starting of the digestion process actually. The food which we are taking, it will be digested. That means it will be made into, or it will be changed into simpler substances to be absorbed, because we have to obtain the nourishment, nutrients which are present in the food. So digestion has to occur, and it starts from the mouth itself. So as we take the food material is broken down into smaller pieces with the help of teeth in the mouth. And we have one more very important thing which is present in our mouth, or that you can also observe, that watery substance which is present in your mouth, that is called saliva. This saliva is present in the mouth, and this saliva actually contains a biocatalyst or an enzyme actually. You can say that enzyme is called as salivary amylase. This enzyme is present in the saliva, and it gets mixed up with the food which is present in the mouth, as saliva is being mixed with the food item. So salivary amylase is also mixed, and what happens, what is the result of this mixing of saliva with the food? Basically the starch molecules, the starch substance which is present in the food material, that will be converted into simpler sugar molecules, or basically you can say maltose. This is the simple sugar which can be formed in the mouth itself. So what happens, or what is the first step of digestion? It is the mixing of salivary amylase which is present in the saliva with the food material which we are eating, and as a result of this mixing, the starch which was present in our food, that has been changed now into simple sugar, that is called as maltose. So starch is a type of carbohydrate, or you can say that the digestion of carbohydrate has been started in the mouth itself. So this thing is basically happening in the mouth with the help of salivary amylase. Now what will happen, as the food is here in the mouth, now it will come in the esophagus area, or basically this is called as the food pipe. So what will happen here, a very important process happens here in esophagus, or that is, you can say, the movement of the food particles which have come in the esophagus, how they will move forward. For the proper forward movement of the food, a special type of thing happens here in esophagus, that is a rhythmic contraction of muscles. Suppose if these are the muscles, they will do rhythmic contraction. Once they will contract and once they will expand. Once they will contract and once they will expand. So why this contraction and expansion is happening? It is happening to push the food in forward direction. So this contraction and expansion is happening in the esophagus, and because of this the food is able to move forward. So this rhythmic contraction and relaxation of the muscles in esophagus, this is called as peristalsis. This is also very important, and small objective type questions can be asked that what is meant by peristalsis. So in that you have to mention about this thing. So basically it is a rhythmic contraction or expansion of the muscles which are present in the esophagus for the forward movement of the food material. So the food is now moving forward in the esophagus, and from the esophagus it has come here in the stomach. Okay, now as we have the food in stomach, so what will happen here? In the stomach we have many gastric glands actually which are present, and what are the things which are present in the gastric glands? We have HCl, that is hydrochloric acid. Yes, you listened it very correctly. This is hydrochloric acid, and as we have done some experiments related to HCl in our chemistry lab actually, so this acid is very dangerous. So the same acid is present in the stomach also, and it has one enzyme also that is present, which is pepsin. So basically when we are talking about the stomach, it has pepsin, it has HCl, plus it has mucus glands also. So these three things are present in the stomach, and what is the function of this HCl actually? As it is acid, it is acidic in nature, so it makes the medium of the stomach acidic. Why it is required? For the proper functioning of this enzyme pepsin. Pepsin is the enzyme which works upon the protein molecules. So this HCl makes the medium of the stomach acidic so that the enzyme will be able to perform properly. So that's why HCl is very important. And what is the function of mucus glands then? So as the HCl is very much acidic in nature, so it can damage the walls of the stomach also, because it is concentrated in nature. So that's why mucus glands are present. Mucus is a very slippery substance actually. So the mucus protects the wall of the stomach from the acidic action of hydrochloric acid. So that's why these three things are present in the stomach, and they are very important in their function. And some, you can say, partial digestion of protein happens in the stomach, but only partial, not the complete digestion. Partial digestion of protein starts in the stomach with the action of this enzyme pepsin. Okay, now sphincter muscle is also present in the stomach, which now pushes the food forward. As these things which are present in the stomach, they have done their function, so it has to move further. So with the help of sphincter muscle, the food will be pushed forward, and from the stomach, where the food will come, see, you can see the path here. From the stomach it will come here in the small intestine actually. So from the stomach, the food is coming in the small intestine, and you can say that the small intestine is the main site of digestion of the food, because all the complex molecules which are present in your food, they will be digested into smaller molecules in the small intestine itself. So what it will get actually, it will get the secretions from other organs also which are present in the digestive system. Here you can see pancreas is present here. So pancreas also give the pancreatic secretions, and what are they actually? The pancreatic secretions are two enzymes, trypsin and lipase. These two enzymes are secreted by the pancreas, and plus we can see one organ here which is the liver. Liver is also present, and this organ which is present here is gallbladder, and this gallbladder actually stores bile. This bile is also very important for the emulsification of fat. Fat means lipid molecules actually. So see just what will happen here in the small intestine, as the pancreas will also give its secretion here. So trypsin and lipase, they will be secreted and they will come here in the small intestine for their proper action, and liver will secrete the bile juice and bile salt. These two things will be secreted by the liver, and they will also come here in the small intestine for their function. Now what is the function of trypsin and lipase? Lipase, as you can take the clue from the name itself, lipase, that means lipid. It is related to lipid. Lipid means fat. So the lipase enzyme will work upon the fat molecules, and it will digest the bigger fat molecules into smaller ones actually. And the trypsin is the enzyme which works upon the protein molecules. See, this trypsin and pepsin, their name is also similar and their function is also similar. So this was also working on protein molecules. This will again work on the digestion of protein molecules. So the protein, it will be broken down into amino acids, which are very important for the body, and fat molecules. They will be broken down into fatty acids plus glycerol. So these are the simpler substances actually. These were the complex substances, protein and fat molecules. They will be broken down into amino acids. Then fat molecules will be broken down into fatty acids and glycerol. And this will be done with the help of the enzymes which are trypsin and lipase, plus the secretions of the liver also, as it is secreting bile juice and bile salt. So as I have told you that the HCl was making the medium of the stomach acidic for the proper functioning of the enzyme pepsin, but here we have to take care of two different enzymes, trypsin and lipase. So they want the medium to be alkaline. They want the medium to be basic in nature. They don't want the acidic medium. So that's why the bile juice and bile salt that is secreted by the liver, they will perform their work here. They will make the medium alkaline. That means basic in nature. And the bile juice, it will work on bigger fat molecules, and it will help in the breaking down of big fat molecules into smaller one. That is also called as emulsification of fat. So this is also very important definition that can be asked. So emulsification of fat occurs here, and all these things are happening in the small intestine because it is the complete site of digestion actually. So these things will happen in the small intestine, and as you can see, the small intestine is very large in its structure, but it is fit in this small region because it is super coiled in its structure. It is present in a very coiled form. That's why it is being fit here in this small region. So all these things are happening in the small intestine. The food material is digested. It is broken down into simpler pieces. Now what is need to be done? Now the absorption of food material has to be done here. So what is present in small intestine for that? Yes, it has something for that also. And basically finger-like projections which are present in the small intestine here. These are basically the blood vessels, and they are finger-like in their structure. These are called the villi. which are present in the small intestine, and these are basically for the absorption of food material. The food material which is digested now, it has to give the nutrition, it has to give the nutrients to the body. So that's why this finger-like projections, they are present in the small intestine to absorb the nutrients which are present in the food. And these are present as finger-like projections because these finger-like projections help to increase the surface area for the proper absorption of the substances. So all these things are happening here. So after the absorption of food, actually now the food particles will come here in the large intestine, and what will happen here, some absorption of water and salt, that will happen in the large intestine because most of the work is done here in the small intestine. So in the large intestine, water and salt, if there is present, they will be absorbed from the food material. So the food, or you can say digested food, actually it will become semi-solid in structure or in its nature. So when the food comes here in the large intestine, it becomes semi-solid in structure, and after moving the large intestine, it will be discharged, it will be excreted by the body with the help of this pole-like structure which is called as anus. So these things were present in the human digestive system. Actually each and every part, each and every organ is very, very important because it is performing a very specific role in the process of digestion. So you have to learn or understand them properly, because sometimes objective questions are also asked about the particular organ, and sometimes large answer question can also be asked. So I think we have understood the topic clearly, and if you are having any doubts, any queries, please don't forget to write in the comment section. Thank you for watching the video.